In this session, we are going to learn our new chapter, chapter number 2, Microorganisms, Friend and Foe. And in this chapter, we are going to learn about microbes, otherwise called as microorganisms, and microorganisms and humans. How are we related? And friendly microorganisms, harmful microorganisms, food preservation, nitrogen fixation, and nitrogen cycle. Okay, now let's start our chapter Microorganisms, Friend and Foe. And the chapter name itself indicates microorganisms. Micro means very, very small. Organisms means all living things, which includes both plants as well as animals. And if you see in our surroundings, there are various kinds of plants and animals. And only these different kinds of plants and animals, what we see, only these organisms are present around us. No, other than this, many microorganisms which cannot be seen with our naked eye also present. So children, living organisms around us which we cannot see with our naked eye are called as microorganisms, otherwise called as microbes. And if you see during rainy season, if you keep some bread which becomes moist due to rainy season, after 1 or 2 days they get spoiled. That is, moist bread gets spoiled, and if you see that the bread surface gets covered with grayish white patches, and if we see that patches through a magnifying glass, we can see a very tiny black rounded structure. If you see in this figure, that moist, that bread, which what we call that as where bread got fungus, affected by fungus. So this fungus is nothing but a microorganism. And if you see this black or grayish mold, this cotton like structure through magnifying glass, we can see the structure of fungus, what you can see in this figure like this. So these microorganisms. So now what are microorganisms? Organisms which we cannot see with our naked eye are called as microorganisms. Then how do we see that microorganisms? Microorganisms can be observed by microscope. And to understand this, where microorganisms are present, if you take some moist soil from the field and put it in a beaker and pour water in it, after soil particles have settled, and if you take a drop of water and you observe it under a microscope, we can see a very minute organisms through that microscope. And also if you take few drops of water from a pond and if you spread on a glass slide and observe that glass slide through a microscope, and during by these observation, that water and soil consist of full of tiny organisms. So even if you see that all tiny organisms, though they are not fall into the category of microbes, some microorganisms can be seen by our naked eye, even though they don't fall into microbes. These microorganisms or microbes are so small that cannot be seen with the unaided eye. Like some of these microorganisms, such as fungus that grows on bread, can be seen with the magnifying glass, and others cannot be seen with the help of microscope. That is why they are called as microorganisms or microbes. Understood, children? So microorganisms or microbes are very tiny, small organisms which cannot be seen with the unaided eye. If the microorganisms are little small, they can be either observed by magnifying glass, and if they are too small, they can be observed by microscope. And even if they are too small, even those cannot be seen with the microscope, they can be observed by electron microscope. Electron microscope magnifying the size of organism very big. So very two small tiny organisms which cannot be observed by microscope, what we call that as compound microscope, can be observed by electron microscope. And so now what we have till now what we understood is microorganisms are too small and are not visible to unaided eye. That is, with the help of some microscope or magnifying glass only we can see. And where do they live? They can live in all kinds of environment, ranging from ice cold climate to hot springs. See the climatic condition, extreme climatic condition also they can live. So they can live in all kind of environment, ranging from ice cold climate to hot springs and deserts to marshy lands. And microorganisms, they are found in air, water, and in the bodies of plants and animals. That is why we can say microorganisms are omnipresent. They found everywhere, and they found in air we breathe, water we drink, and even in our bodies, that is bodies of plants and animals also microorganisms are found. And they may be unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular, as you know, that organisms whose body is made up of a single cell. You know what is cell? Cell is a basic structural and fundamental unit of all living organisms. So if the organisms whose body is made up of only one cell, they are called as unicellular organisms, and sometimes microorganisms are multicellular also. So microorganisms are living organisms which cannot be seen with that naked eye, which cannot be seen with the unaided eye, are called as microorganisms. And now we will be learning about types of microorganisms. Microorganisms are mainly classified into 4 major groups, namely bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and algae. Again, types of microorganisms. Microorganisms are mainly classified into 4 major groups, namely bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and algae. And now we will be learning all these microorganisms one by one in a detailed manner. First, bacteria. Single cell bacteria are single celled, that is unicellular. They may be found in colonies. What do you mean by colonies? They may be found in groups. And there are they are found in different shapes. That is, either they can be in spherical shape, that are called as cocci. Spherical shaped bacteria are called as cocci. What do you mean by spherical? Round, circular shape, cocci. Rod shape, somewhat elongated rod shaped structure, what you call that as bacilli. Spiral shaped are called as spirillum, or comma shaped bacteria, what we call that as vibrio. So bacteria, they are single celled. They may be found in colonies or groups. On the basis of their shapes, again, they are of different types of bacteria we can tell. You can see here that labeling A and H. What you can see, the somewhat rod-shaped bacteria. What we call that as rod-shaped bacteria as bacillus, bacilli. And spherical shaped. See here labeling B, C, and D in the figure. You see that spherical, circular shaped bacteria, blue color, that is cocci. And spiral shaped. See, if you see here that labeling G and E, spiral shaped bacteria, what we call that as spirillum, name itself, spiral, spirillum. Rod-shaped bacilli, spherical shaped cocci, and see that F comma shaped, and what we call that as vibrio. So again, bacteria based on shape, spherical shaped bacteria are called as cocci, or that is in singular we call that as coccus. Rod shaped called as bacilli, and singular we call that as bacillus. And comma shaped bacteria we call that as vibrio, and in singular what we call that as vibrium. And spiral shaped bacteria, many spiral shaped bacteria, in plural we call that as spirilla, and in singular we call that as spirillum. So what are different shapes of bacteria? Till now we have learned spherical shaped coccus, rod shaped bacillus, spiral shaped spirillum, and comma shaped, what we call that as vibrium or vibrio. And so first microorganism, first classification of microorganism we have learnt about bacteria. Now pass on to next group of microorganism. What do you call that as fungi? And if you see, they are plant-like organisms, but even though they are plant-like, they do not contain chlorophyll, are called as fungi. And you can see that fungi, what we have learned, bread, on the bread, grayish white-like structure, blackish, the cottony like structure, what we call that as fungus. That is an example for mold, bread mold. And other fungus you can see here, penicillium, aspergillus, etc. And if you see fungi, they may be unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular, made up of only one cell, and multicellular, whose body is made up of more than a cell, many cells are called multicellular. So fungi may be unicellular or multicellular, and are found in, where do they found? They are found in warm and moist places, and they can be heterotrophic, as they do not contain chlorophyll. They cannot produce their own food. So organisms which can produce their own food, what are they called as? Autotrophs. As fungus, they do not contain chlorophyll. They cannot produce their own food. So they are heterotrophs. They can be heterotrophic and saprotrophic. What do you mean by saprotrophic? They take nutrition from dead and decaying organisms. They take nutrition from dead and decaying organisms, are called saprotrophs. Or they may be parasitic. What are parasites? They depend on host organisms or parasites. So come on the basis of this. So fungus, they can be heterotrophs, again different types. They can be saprotrophs or parasites. And the common examples you can see is yeast and mushroom, mold. So mushroom, where do we see mushroom? They depend on host, so we can tell they are parasitic. And mold, they get nutrition from dead and decayed organisms or matter, so mold. And yeast, they cannot produce their own food. They take nutrition, they depend on other organisms. So they are heterotrophic. So fungus can be heterotrophic, saprotrophic, or parasitic. Common examples, what we have learned is yeast, mushroom, and mold. Now, our next group of microorganism, protozoa. This unicellular organisms, protozoans, they are microscopic, means they are made up of single cell. So we call that as unicellular. And microscopic organisms similar to animals. So if fungus, what we have learned, they are similar to plants. And here protozoans, they are similar to animals. They are unicellular and they can move to capture food and are heterotrophic. So as we know that they cannot produce their food, they depend on other for their food. So they are heterotrophic and mostly aquatic. Mostly they found in water. And example, amoeba, paramecium. See what you can see in this figure, amoeba and paramecium. Amoeba, they do not have a specific shape and they have that false foot-like structure, what we call that as pseudopodia. This we have learned in 7th standard, isn't it? And pseudopodia, as if they found any food particle, they extend that pseudopodia and cover that food particle, capture it and engulf it. So they do not have proper shape. And see here in this figure, there's the examples of protozoans, amoeba and paramecium. So what are protozoans? The other group, the microorganisms which are unicellular, microscopic, similar to animals that can move to capture food. So they are called as what is that, heterotrophic, and they are mostly aquatic. Example, amoeba, paramecium, and you can tell euglena, etc. And now coming to our, so children, till now we have learned about what are the different groups. Till now we have learned, first we have learned about bacteria, then fungi, then protozoans, and now fourth group we are going to learn about algae. Algae are simple, again plant-like organisms which are usually aquatic in nature. See, if you see in pond, that surface, any water resources on the surface, that brown, green color layer on the surface of water is nothing but algae. Or during rainy season, even in that outside the wall, or you can see that potted plant outside the pot, you can see that velvety green like structure is nothing but what is that? Algae. They are simple plant like organisms. So they found in moist places, so usually aquatic in nature. And they contain cell wall and chlorophyll. So cell wall, plant cell, they contain cell wall. You have learned the differences between plant cell and animal cell, isn't it? Cell wall, plant cell contains cell wall, and they also contain chlorophyll. So they come into the category of plants, isn't it? They contain cell wall and chlorophyll so that they can make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. And algae, if you see, they can be unicellular or multicellular. And if you see, some of them, they are found in filamentous form, filaments, like filament-like structure. Example, see here you can see Spirogyra. Spirogyra, they are having spiral-shaped chloroplast. So their name, they indicates, they are called as Spirogyra. Or in colonial forms. Colonial means what? Colonies, in groups. In groups, the example of algae is volvox. So algae, they can be unicellular or multicellular. And some of them they found in filamentous form, example Spirogyra, or in groups, colonies, colonial form, what we call that as colonial form, example volvox. And next group. So main four groups till now we have learned. What are they? Bacteria, fungus, algae, and protozoans. And now we are going to learn about microorganisms, what we call that as viruses. Viruses, they are very small than any unknown cell. So viruses cannot be seen with our compound microscope. They can see with the help of electron microscope. They come under the border line of living organisms and non-living organisms. That is, outside the body, they cannot reproduce. So once they enter the other living organisms, like any bacteria, plants, animals, whatever organisms they enter, then only they can be alive and they can reproduce. So we don't include this virus in that main group of classification. Viruses are very, very small. They cannot be seen with the compound microscope. They can be seen only with the help of electron microscope. And it can reproduce only inside the bodies of other organisms. That is nothing but what we call that as host. So in order to reproduce, what we call, they have to enter the other body of other organisms, what we call them as host they need. And you may have heard about viral infection. Now what is going on, isn't it? Virus. So virus is where it causes several diseases, and this common diseases which caused like a cold, cough, flu, fever, influenza, what we otherwise called as influenza. These are all common disease, are also caused by virus. And some severe diseases like polio, chicken pox, and even you can we have heard about AIDS. Now what is going on, this COVID, these are all corona, these are all caused by virus, isn't it? And so these common examples of virus, you can tell influenza virus, chicken pox virus, etc. Got children? So viruses, they are very, very small, and they can be seen only with the help of electron microscope. They can reproduce only inside the bodies of other organisms. That is, for reproduction, they need host organism. Some common examples of virus are influenza virus, chickenpox virus, etc. And disease caused by viruses are common cold, cough, flu, polio, chickenpox, etc. And so what we have learned, viruses are very microscopic. They reproduce only inside the cells of host organisms. These host organisms may be plant, animals, or bacterium, etc. And some common ailments like cold, influenza, what is that called as flu, fever, and most coughs are caused by viruses. And also viruses cause serious diseases like polio, chickenpox, etc. Got children? Now we will be learning about where do microorganisms live. As I told already, microorganisms, they found everywhere, isn't it? So microorganisms again microorganisms, they may be single celled like bacteria, some algae, and protozoa, or they may be multicellular such as algae and fungus, and they can survive, live under all types of environment, ranging from ice cold climate to hot springs, and deserts to marshy land. Deserts, there will be no water, and marshy land, more water will be there, isn't it? So extreme condition, ice cold climate to hot spring, desert to marshy land. Any place, any environment, they can live. They are also found inside the bodies of animals, including humans. And some microorganisms, they grow on other organisms, while others exist freely. And microorganisms like amoeba, they can live alone, while fungi and bacteria, they live in colonies. That is, they live in groups. And microorganisms, they play, and as how do we relate with each other? And microorganisms, they play an important role in our lives. Do all microorganisms are harmful? That is, do all microorganisms, they cause diseases? No. Some microorganisms, they are very useful for us. They are beneficial in many ways, whereas some others are harmful and cause diseases. Got children? So about this, how do they help us or how do they cause diseases? This we are going to learn in next session. That is, next session we are going to learn about how microorganisms are beneficial for us in a detailed manner. And so children, till now we have learnt about what are microorganisms. That is, microorganisms or living organisms which cannot be seen by our naked eye, which can be seen by some compound microscope, electron microscope, or magnifying lens, are called as microorganisms. Where do microorganisms live? Microorganisms live anywhere, any extreme condition, that is from hot to cold and as well as from desert to marshy land. Where are microorganisms found? Microorganisms found everywhere, in plants, bodies of plants, animals, water we drink, air we breathe, etc. And then we have learnt about different types of microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi, protozoa, algae, and then last we have learnt about viruses.